uh, just a literal syntax, right? But you can also use constructors to build this. And we can do that right now. So I'll just try to recreate the same thing, but I'll do it with the JavaScript prototype. So I'm going to define a function called cal. It's going to receive some options. And we can put the very same options that we received before, like name, age, brothers, sisters, and sad. And we can start setting those values. I'm gonna make this as a constructor. So now that I have this, I can just declare a new variable. And use this new keyword to generate a new instance of this cal function that I have here. So like I'm building this object and I have, this is like a constructor. And I'll just put some information. Age 10. This is going to be an array, John. No, true. This is pretty much what we had before, right?
That's pretty much the same as all that you're saying?
Yeah. There's a lot of differences, but it's pretty much, we're accomplishing pretty much the same. If we take a look into this code that we had before, we're creating this object, we're putting some properties on this object, and we have these global functions that are accessing that object. But those functions are not related to that object, and I can just recreate this because this is just this key and value definitions, which I can just like recreate a new one or use the same constructor to rebuild this. So what we're trying to do is accomplishing the same thing, but in a reusable way. So if I just create a new instance of cal and console.log it. We can check it out, the result. Let's see what we have. And we have this, which with all the properties that we wanted. Okay? So now we can make those functions part of that object. So now we can use that prototype that I mentioned before. And now we're going to define the isSet function again. I'm just going to copy that. Oh, I'm going to leave it here. Copy that. But the difference is that now we are not accessing this global defined object. We need to access the value of our own instance. So in this case, we're accessing the value of our own instance, which in this case is true. But I can create a different cow that it's not sad, it's called Judy. It has 18 years old and just one brother as well, Bruno, and no sisters as well. And I have these two cows.
Can you explain again just cow.prototype versus just cow.isSet? You need that because...
Yeah, so if we make just call that isSet, this is a static definition for this object over here. And if we try to reuse that or create a mixin on top of cow, like if this was animal and I was creating something on top of that, like extending it, I want to be able to like redefine isSet or do things like this, you know. If you worked with others programming languages, this is like extending or inheritance. We can do mixins. There's a lot of programming patterns that we can do if we make this part of the prototype instead of a static function.
You're basically creating a blueprint. So blueprint, prototype, those words are kind of interchangeable even if you think about blueprint, prototype, right? And so the function, you got two paths in JavaScript adding things to this blueprint. So when you add something that you want to be specific to each instance, you add that to your function, quote unquote, constructor, lines 10 through 16. And so that this.name, this.age, that's going to be unique to each cow you create, right? But the isSet function, you don't need that to be unique to every cow you create. You only need one isSet function to run, and that same function can run against any cow you create. And so, you know, that creates that function in memory. My understanding is it creates it in memory only once. No matter how many millions of cows you create, that function exists only once. And all those millions of cows can use that function. And you only need one function in memory. You don't need a million instances in memory. However, for all of your millions of cows in memory, they all need a name in memory. They all need an age in memory. So lines 10 through 16, that defines everything that's unique for each cow, right? Meaning they all need their own name, their own age. And the prototype part will add something on to that definition which they can all share in common and use. So it adds on your methods.
Perfect. And if we take a look into this on the console, we have these two cows. This is called cow 1, this is cow 2, okay? So they have different names, they have different ages, and if I call the isSet function call on cow 1, what it should return? And if I call it on cow 2, yeah, so we have set these properties, and we're telling that one is true, other is false. We're calling the same function and accessing this value over here. And if I want to put a different function for call 1, I can just go ahead and create this new property, like, I don't know, blah blah. So this function only belongs to call 1 and not call 2. If we take a look into this, there's that blah blah only belongs here and not here. So that's the difference of having a static function in an object opposed to having it set on the prototype.
Also, can you just briefly go over the shortcut for you edited both cow objects at the same time? Like when you change cow to animal?
Oh, you mean the keyboard function to select the text
Yeah.
and do it at the same time?
Yeah.
In Sublime?
Command D on Sublime.
What is it?
Command D, Control D.
Well, you're in web design.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you can just go to help and then keyboard
What would
shortcut.
happen if you left out?
Let's drop real quick. I know the picture.
If you